Welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we dissect the Railway Series. I'm Jamie.
I'm Marina.
I'm Liv.
And we hope you enjoy the show. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast which torments my soul when I have to edit it. I don't think I posted the full, story about this on Twitter, but editing the last episode was hell on earth, because we recorded Thomas and the Breakdown Train once, and we were really happy with it, but when we pulled the audio files out of Zencastr, the audio had corrupted on one of our ends, so we basically had to redo all... No, you're fine, you're fine. It's not your fault. Zencastr is too cowardly to handle your power. We recorded it again, but after we recorded it and I was gonna edit it, there was the snowstorm in Texas. So I was without power for a week, and then it took me basically twice as long to edit together the last episode, just because of all the stuff that happened. So we're not using Zencastr anymore.
Zencastr has lost its Railway Series Book Club privileges.
Yeah. But, let's not get bogged down in that. It's a new day, it's a new book, and we have a guest with us.
It's a four-way rumble.
Hi.
Yes.
Hello. We should probably do introductions. My name is Jamie. I am the hostess with the mostest. My pronouns are she, her. And these are my good friends and co-hosts.
I'm Marina, she, her. I'm your local TV series bitch.
I'm Liv. I'm the British one. Also she, her.
I'm Andrew. I'm guest for this book, and I am they, them. And I haven't quite decided what variety of bitch I am yet, but I'll probably let you know when I think of it.
You already have a title. You're the Chairlord.
The _ Chairlord. Thank you very much.
my apologies.
Jamie, don't disrespect our guest.
My apologies, your lordship.
Yeah. Don't patronize me.
Can I just say, I had to prepare for this episode, morning, I was like, I haven't done it yet, so I listened to the narration while driving to class, because I have to drive an hour to get to my college campus, and I had to interrupt listening to The Guardian Who Lost Hope for the 100th time since Sunday to listen to this shitty story, so never doubt the work we put into this.
Now worry. I feel like it's not fair to cast judgment so soon.
True.
Yeah.
The TV series episode was also pretty bad.
How can it be shitty when it has...
Oh god.
Okay. I think we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Should we begin our tale?
Well, yeah, I think we should get into the backstory behind this book.
We should.
I don't know if we've already said the title of the book yet.
I don't think we've even acknowledged it's a new book yet.
I don't think we... Well, no. Jamie did acknowledge that it's a new book.
It is a new
day,
book.
New book, and me.
Yeah, it's a new book, but I haven't said which book. It could be a mystery. Who could possibly tell what book we're covering? Just ignore the graphic.
We're doing Thomas Goes to Space. We've heard the request.
Yeah.
I had that book as a kid. It's pretty good, actually. It's fun.
Yeah. I never had it. I only saw, the cover, and was always fascinated about it for quite a while. And then there was a point where I found out that, it's just Thomas going to a science fiction convention. I just wanted him to be actually on the moon.
Thomas goes to Comic-Con.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I want a story about that. Fucking Thomas and James lose Percy at Comic-Con, and they have to try and find him.
What is the National Railway Museum, if not Engine Comic-Con?
Well, yeah, and, You know the one time, like, I think 94, where Flying Scotsman was repainted as Flying Fox for, like, a photo charter or something. Or, like,
Cosplay.
Yeah, exactly. It is literally just engine cosplay.
Bittern must really enjoy cosplay, then.
Yeah? Bitterin.
I was gonna say, I forget that Bitterin is a real engine and not just...
The cactus character with the fucked up makeup.
Yes.
Right. So, Jamie, do you want to get into the backstory of our wonderful book?
Yes, so today we are going to begin our coverage of the third book in the Railway series, James the Red Engine. It is the third book in the Railway series. It was written by Reverend W. Awdry, and it was illustrated by Clarence Reginald Dalby. But before we get into the development of this book, why don't we take a look at the foreword?
Yeah.
Would you like me to do a funny voice, or just read it normally?
Do the James voice.
Yeah.
Dear friends of Edward, Gordon, Henry, and Thomas, thank you for your kind letters. Here is the new book for which you asked.
No.
It's okay, you can read it normally, I'm sorry.
James, who crashed in the story of Thomas the Tank Engine, settles down and becomes a useful engine. We are nationalized now, but the same engines still work the region. I'm glad, too, to tell you that the fat director, who understands our friend's ways, is still in charge, but is now the fat controller. I hope you will enjoy this book, too. The author.
I love the cadence of, like, dialogue Awdry has in these.
Yeah, he's just like, oh yeah, here's all the lore. Also, this is a book. Here's the book.
Yeah.
The fat director has now become the thick director.
Mari, do you take constructive criticism?
I absolutely do not.
So,
That was a beautiful curveball.
when Thomas the Tank Engine was released in 1946, it was very popular. It sold a lot. And the publishers told Awdry, hey, you should write another book. We have a deadline for you. And so Awdry basically scrambled to rush. He basically, like, you know, had to kind of rush the development of this book, which he decided to be about James, who crashed in the story of Thomas the Tank Engine.
And has settled down and become a useful engine.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm surprised he had to rush it, considering it's been 2 years since Thomas the Tank Engine by the time this came out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the story is with that. Maybe maybe they had a deadline but they moved it back or something, or maybe there was something else. Maybe he just took a break for a year.
I wonder if it's something there might be a bit more information on in, like, Tank Engine Man.
There might be. It does have an excerpt about the illustrations in the book, which I mentioned before that this was the first book to be illustrated by our good friend Clarence Reginald Dalby. But
He makes a fucking earth-shattering debut.
yeah,
We've met him before, but the good children in 1948, they haven't.
they haven't, and their world is about to be changed.
This ship's about to be thoroughly rocked.
But it turns out that there is an excerpt in Thomas the Tank Engine Man, which explains that in an alternate timeline, it might not have been Dalby illustrating this book. So I'm gonna read this section from the wiki, which summarizes the section from Tank Engine Man. Okay, so quoth the wiki: when Reginald Payne proved unable to illustrate this book, Wilbert Awdry decided to illustrate it himself. While he was able to draw engines and railway infrastructure, he was unable to draw humans and scenery. He found a solution in the new headmistress of Napwell Church of England School, Barbara Bean, whose hobby was sketching. Although Miss Bean knew nothing of railways, she agreed to collaborate with Wilbert on the illustrations. Wilbert drew the engineering side of things, while Miss Bean filled in the scenic details and added watercolor to the illustrations. By the time the illustrations were finished, however, Edmund Warren had already hired Clarence Reginald Dalby as illustrator, who redrew the pictures for publication.
I get original illustrations for James the Red Engine count as lost media.
Yeah, that should go on the iceberg.
Yeah, that should go on the iceberg. Genuinely, as one of like undisclosed number ones that aren't jokes.
Yeah.
No, it can't be on the iceberg, because that's a thing people can know about compared to like we're mentioning this publicly, but you're also not supposed to mention it publicly, but you can, but you won't. Sorry.
I feel like it's a different thing when talking about the books compared to the show.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
Because it's just sort of like, oh, well, this is just a thing that the Rev did versus...
Yeah.
Here are these production secrets.
Yeah. Because the thing is with the Railway series is that a lot of the dirty laundry is already out there in the form of, like, the lore books and Tank Engine Man, as opposed to, like, being kept under lock and key by data expunged.
Did you know Stanley was supposed to be in season 24?
Which one?
That's the joke. I could be saying secrets. I could be saying bullshit. No one will know.
Yeah, I assume that like the illustrations Dalby made were like based on the illustrations that were done by Awdry and Bean, but a lot of the illustrations he did also kind of look like they were kind of traced over blocking from the previous book, which is very strange. And I'll point them out when we actually get there. I do wonder what the timeline would have looked like if it'd been the Awdry Bean illustrations, if only just because, like, it'd be interesting.
I wonder if there were like any notable design changes.
I think we'd have been missing out on some amazing faces.
I think...
Yeah.
I think I once saw, like, a couple of the Rev sketches from, James the Red Engine online.
Yeah,
like,
there are a couple that are, like, out there, so...
Yeah. Like, I think at least a couple of them were on, like, the Real Lives site. Yeah. And one of them, I very distinctly remember being James in the shed, sad and troublesome trucks.
Oh, yeah,
It's
I've seen that
basically
one.
the same composition as the one in the final book.
Dalby is known for kind of, like, not listening to Awdry when it comes to his illustration choices, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. For those not in the know, Awdry and Dalby had a very famous feud with regards to, like, the quality of his illustrations in the books, because he did not draw the railway things really well, and whenever Awdry said, hey, could you please draw my book correctly, he was like, no, fuck you. And somehow he stayed on for more than one book.
I feel like if you're telling the writer, like, if you're actively ignoring the writer's requests, you should have been fired a long time ago.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
It's so very strange. I guess maybe their feud wasn't, like, long-lasting like we tend to think it is, and maybe it only just kind of, like, boiled to a head in the very late books when he actually left.
Wasn't it Duck that was, like, the straw that broke the camel's back for him?
It might have been. I think it was Percy, just because of, like, the very famous green caterpillar comment.
Yeah, it was definitely, like, Percy the Small Engine where, like, shit just... Everything fell apart.
Dalby's early illustrations are, like, they're very... They are a little bit strange, because I feel like when Ward picked out Dalby, he was essentially trying to find someone to mimic the style of Payne. And, like, that does kind of come across in the art style, because it does feel a lot like Diet Payne for the first few outings until he starts to develop his own style later on. I would just like to point out this thing in the foreword that we read. See, like, this book came out in 1948, which is when British Railways nationalized. So, obviously, it's acknowledged in the story, and it's like, oh, we're nationalized. We're nationalized, and now the Fat Director's been promoted to Fat Controller. Which is, like, this is where the Fat Controller comes from, because now instead of just being, like, a guy on the board of directors, he's Regional Controller. Which is a promotion, question mark?
I think he has more authority now.
Yeah. But it also, like... It also is really funny, just reading this section, and then also remembering, wait, doesn't James the Red Engine take place in the 20s? Which is, like, way before nationalization.
I see. You can take it as, like, he's calling him the Fat Controller in retrospect, Whereas, like, when the stories took place, the engines and everyone called him the Fat Director.
That's probably the official explanation, but I still think it's funny.
The Railway series realism was perfect and never had any problems whatsoever.
The timeline is cool, but it's also very funny.
Time for the story?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. James and the Top Hat. With hyphenated.
The hyphen's very important.
It is
Don't forget the
paramount.
hyphen between Spider and Man.
Otherwise, he's just John Spiderman.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, James was a new engine who lived at a station at the other end of the line. He had 2 small wheels in front and 6 driving wheels behind. They weren't as big as Gordon's, and they weren't as small as Thomas's. "You're a special mixed traffic engine," the Fat Controller told him. "You're able to pull coaches or trucks quite easily. But trucks are not easy things to manage, and on his first day they pushed him down a hill into a field."
James. He is good. I like him.
James is your favorite, isn't he, Jamie?
Yes, he is my favorite. I said this last time. And
Yeah.
God, this is the debut of his wonderful gaudy red makeover, and I love it.
Oh yeah, can we talk about that here? Because I
think they start talking about it on the next page, but like I do want to talk about it here, if only just because I love it so much.
It's like, there weren't really a lot of, like, red engines on this time.
Yeah, like I can only really think of like LMS Crimson Lake, but like that's not even like the same thing. This is like red with black and brass. It's wonderful and gaudy and James.
I love the image of James like going to, I was gonna say the Steamworks, but obviously that's not right. Like being repaired, and they're like, "Oh, like you can like get like a new coat of paint. What would you like?" And like they probably have like the blue like on standby because everyone has the fucking blue. And James is like, "I want red and gold. Make it like really, really shiny gold and like the brightest red you have." And they're like, okay."
It's like they were already brass fittings, so it's like, do not paint over these. Make sure they shine.
The thing is, I'm pretty sure James didn't actually have the brass in the last book, so they added that for him.
Yeah, they were making him feel special. I also just like this illustration in general, just because like it's a very good first image. Like this, it's James.
It is the image of James.
Yeah,
That's James.
It's James.
I do think it is a little bit strange, though, just because like early Dalby James has like
He has like the red roof.
He has the red roof, and he doesn't have lining on the splashers, which, like, probably just because we've grown up with the TV series, I find it very strange for him to not have that, because it's like, he just looks naked without them. Well, it's weird. His cab looks peeled.
Well, even then, it's like,
he's also missing
Edward's
his roof
got
whistle.
lining on his splashers. Yeah, but then Dalby didn't like illustrating whistles.
Yeah.
He, like, never illustrates any actual whistles. Like, genuinely. With Thomas the Tank Engine, he just fucking paints over them.
Does James have his roof whistle in the Railway series at all?
I don't think so. I mean,
we'll have to keep an eye out, I guess.
Does he have isn't that thing in front of his cab a window? Like the little gold thing?
Window.
I mean,
no, that's his safety valve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what eventually becomes like the little gold dot on his classic series firebox.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like that they included those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I know Henry.
It's just a shame that they took it off.
All right. Well, before we move on, I feel like this is an important discussion we should have now that we have first seen the red paint.
Yeah.
Black lining or blue lining?
I like the black.
It depends.
Personally.
I like black as well, but I think just as a character thing, blue lining is something James only wants to get when he really wants to like dress up and look especially showy.
That is
Okay, but
very
I
good. I
love
like
that.
that.
He does it.
That is good.
He does it for dates.
Like when they all like go to, I don't know, wherever the fuck they go in the 8 famous engines. That's where he's like, oh,
I've got to look my best.
Yeah.
That's far away over Gordon's
Make the
Hill.
lining blue. Well, that's far away over Gordon's Hill.
I know it's a very late model series thing, but I can never imagine James as anything but a screaming Liverpoolian.
Yeah.
yeah,
See, I really like the black lining personally, but like, I feel like the blue lining is like, it can be done right. Like, I
Yeah.
do like it when it looks good. It's just a lot of the times whenever I see like someone like a mod, like a model or like a toy of James to have the blue lining instead of black, the blue they pick is always like a shade of blue that like kind of burns my eyes whenever I try to view it next to the red.
yeah.
He just needs a Westinghouse pump to pull it all together.
It's like, God, it's like, I don't know. Not a lot of people seem to have that great a grasp of color theory when it comes to like repainting the engines. or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like, oh, this is it's just sort of a thing. I guess it's just a thing of like, oh, this blue looks like Thomas blue. Let me just use that, and then this red looks like James red. I will also use that, but then it looks a bit weird.
I think what happens is people just like color pick the same blue that would be like Thomas's body, and then just use
Yeah.
that for the lining, and it clashes horribly.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, in, like, the paint area of the workshops, they have, like, little labels for the tins? It's like, lining red. Red for James.
Oh yeah. No, they absolutely do.
They do.
They absolutely do.
they they need to have a stockpile of James Red at all times.
Yeah, do you think he has that stuff anything but special ordered? Like, no one else is allowed to use it, it's just for him.
He has it, like, tailor made to look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's already a thing that like railway like works would have just like they would just like mix their own paints. So like for like each works in the Caledonian Railway, there was a different like shade of Cali blue. So you've got like St. Rollock's blue,
Oh.
whichever other ones there were.
That's cool.
So
it's
that's
just-
why
it's just a
Caledonian
general
blue
railway
is so cursed.
Yeah, it's a general railway thing, really, because there's like 5 fucking BR Brunswick greens.
Oh,
so
God.
it's like they probably do just at Crovan's Gate. They probably do just have one guy that's like just sat there for like all hours, just like making the exact James Red mixture several times just so they can have it fucking stowed away.
And then one day he's like off sick, so they have another guy do it, and then James comes in, he's just like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
This is the wrong shade. You've tricked me.
You insufferable gits.
Cunt.
Can I keep that, or should I edit that out?
Keep it.
Okay.
Damn it! Now I just want to see someone write a story about James being given the wrong shade of red, and he's just panicking that everybody will notice, and nobody fucking cares.
I said it last time. I'm just a slut for James recolors. You make a story where James wears a different color, I'm fucking buying that piece of merchandise.
Yeah, it's astounding that they didn't make toys for an engine of many colors.
I
Like,
know.
It's right fucking there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Wind Up didn't do like a wave of just the Jameses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I guess I can half get it, maybe question mark, because it's like, oh, it's just sort of a regular episode thing, not really a special. But then they have done Snow Engine Oliver, imbued in fucking snowman.
They did Tickled Pink James. That was the only line that did Tickled Pink James. I'm still upset. Did they not think boys aged 3+ would buy pink versions of James?
I'm just imagining, like, Jamie opens up, like, the secret passageway in her house, and it just leads down to, like, a little pedestal with a tiny wind-up pink James on it.
It's just like one, like, ionic column. Like, just...
Like,
Not too high
he's,
off the
he's in,
ground.
like, a glass display case on a pillow.
Yeah.
It's where he belongs.
He had been ill after the accident, but now he had new brakes and a shining coat of red paint. "The red paint will cheer you up after your accident," said the fat controller kindly. "You are to build coaches today, and Edward shall help you." They went together to find coaches. "Be careful with the coaches, James," said Edward. "They don't like being bumped. Trucks are silly and noisy. They need to be bumped and taught to behave. But coaches will get cross and will pay you out."
I do like the reintroduction of Edward as the mentor, but I find his advice kind of weird here.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I feel like the advocation of bumping of trucks is like... That seems very counterproductive, given in later stories, a lot of the trucks will be rude to the engines because they were bumping them. Like, that's...
Yeah. Like, literally before, we were recording, I listened to Duck and the Diesel Engine again, and it's literally just like, Diesel's plan only works because the trucks are so cross with Duck.
Yeah. I don't know. I would expect better from Edward, I guess.
Yeah. Because it's like, just the way I see it, really. Edward, like, has his own way of dealing with trucks, but then I guess that's just sort of like...
Early installment weirdness.
I mean, in the first book, he does, like, go, like, oh yeah, I like just fucking with the trucks for fun, so...
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true, he does do that.
Actually, you know what?
yeah, so maybe this is, like,
Maybe.
still that.
You know, I have just remembered all of the times that Dan has said that Edward is a shit mentor.
Well, see, that can't be the case, because every single fan series has Edward be the mentor guy.
Oh, of course, of course not.
Are you saying that Fanon is wrong?
No.
No.
I hear he's a
No.
thoroughbred.
I hear he's a thoroughbred.
Fuck, dude, he sure is.
I will say, I do quite like the illustration of the two of them, like, next to each other.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I think that one's really quite good. Like, I've been wanting to, like, sort of discuss this when we, like, actually, like, got to the illustrations. That it's like, there's a couple for, like, each story that are, like, really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Not great, but good for what they are. And
Yeah.
then, what the fuck happened?
Oh, we'll get to those.
I really like this illustration, because, like, this was one of, like, the very first ones that I, like, saw in the books that I could, like, definitively recognize having been on the TV screen. Because, like, they mimic the same blocking in the James Learns a Lesson. Which is
James
the
and
US
the
title.
Coaches.
I don't know why I said that.
Because you're American and a fool.
It's how I remember it, because I had the DVD, and honestly,
Yeah.
like, I never really liked watching it unless I was at, like, Thomas and Terrence or Thomas and Birdie.
I have the James Learns a Lesson DVD as well. And it's not the shit one with the apple on the cover.
Oh no, I don't have that one either, thank God.
I never
That's
had
anyone
James
does.
Learns a Lesson. I had Best of James.
Oh yeah, I forgot it's on that too.
Yeah, I love that DVD. That was one of the ones I would always watch. My dad always thought that the title was misleading because basically all the stories just involve James fucking up. So he said it should have been called The Most of James.
The most.
Yeah. It's a more accurate title.
Listen. James's best is still him fucking up royally.
If you don't love
Exactly.
me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best.
Yeah, exactly.
And like James,
He's that kind of
point of-
bitch.
James
The
says.
point of James's character is that he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James says, like, if you don't love me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. And Edward in the corner very quietly is just like, there's not really much of a difference between the two.
Oh no!
Like in the most like in the driest like Danish way possible, there is no difference.
Dan is honestly like one of my favorite like fan content creators.
Yeah, because like I just
It's a very good handle on the characters and writing style.
exactly, and it's the way he handles them just feels right.
Yeah.
Can I say something about Best of James again? Sorry to cut off.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I forgot I wanted to say something about Master James too.
So, when I was younger, a lot of the model series faces used to scare me, and a lot of those in particular were James's, mainly his angry face.
You know,
And then once
it's funny you say that.
I wanted to rent a Thomas thing at the Blockbuster, and then I ended up with a double thing of the first half was Best of Percy, and then the second was Best of James. So that wasn't great.
Well, I reckon you enjoyed the first half a lot because Percy's your favorite.
Yeah.
It's really funny that like you say that because like when you started like saying like, oh yeah, a lot of the faces used to scare me, it was like the first like one that popped in my head was just James's angry face.
Yeah.
And it's like the shots in like James and the Coaches where he's like, Gordon doesn't have to poke coaches.
Yeah, or like the one in Old Iron where he's coming right at the camera with it.
Yeah. That's another story about Best of James I have, is that like
Late again.
there were like a couple episodes of Classic Thomas that kind of like scared me as a kid because they all involved like the camera just like shooting towards something at high speed, or like, you know, something along those lines. So like the scene where Thomas like runs towards a snowdrift, or like James going towards the tar tankers. I appreciate them now because they're very well shot, but as a kid, the jarringness kind of like spooked me a bit.
I was the kid who was scared of literally nothing in Thomas except for Diesel 10.
Yeah, I was fine with Diesel 10. It was just like fucking Ghost Train.
See, me and Mari have
Discovery.
discussed this
Duncan gets spooked.
extensively because I loved the spooky episodes, and Mari had to throw out a VHS of Ghost Train because she thought it was possessed.
What? What were you saying? I was listening to the Pui Pui Molcar theme. I'm joking. God,
That's saying it.
I did have that on, but yeah, no, that is the thing that happened because I got I didn't even remember it. It was because like I was at like the mall with a friend, and like we stopped at like this DVD store, and they had like Percy's Ghostly Trek, and I was like, oh, I don't have this one, so I bought it. And Mom was like, oh yeah, we had that when you were younger. You made us throw it out because you thought it was possessed. And she was like, we couldn't even just like put it away. You made us like show you us throwing it out in the outdoor trash can. Because I thought it was gonna kill me or something. I don't think I got past the opening scene.
Neither could 4-year-old Andrew. Believe me.
I'm just imagining Mari just very sadly watching her, like, very scared, watching her mum throw a Thomas VHS into the bin because she thought that Percy, covered in little pieces of paper, was gonna jump out of her TV and kill her.
I think the moral of the story is that Classic Thomas is scary, but also very hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are all clowns.
Best
in
of
this
James. Best of James was like one of the ones I'd absolutely make sure I brought to my grandma's every time I went. Just, like, that was like that. Best of Thomas, Best of Percy. I think a couple of the other ones. I don't know. I used to get really adventurous when one of my younger cousins came around into existence, and I was like, "Yeah, let me show you the DVDs my dad made from rips of VHS tapes I've borrowed from the library."
Nice.
So there'd be the occasional tenders and turntables, and Thomas breaks the rules. But
Living on the edge.
This is
Yeah.
completely unrelated. I just quickly want to say, Andrew, I really like your Willie Rushton back controller voice.
Also,
Police call to control crowd.
this is a really kind of far tangent, but like what you said, Andrew, made me think of. I had cousins who they would film movies in the theaters and then put them on DVDs and sell them. And I remember we were watching like Ratatouille while it was still in theaters, and I was just like, I don't think this is allowed.
Every story I hear from your life just paints an increasingly chaotic picture. Like, holy shit. The GameCube, the Percy tape, the bootlegging cousins plus Ratatouille.
See,
I think a docudrama about your life would be like...
Honestly, that's an honor. Thank you.
One of my favorite Mari memories is just the time that we were on call when she was driving home from college, and then there was a couple of seconds of silence, and she just quietly said, "Where am I?"
Wait, what?
You know, okay, so I drive on the highway like 90% of the time. I have a tendency to like not like take in my surroundings. So like we were on call, there was a bit of silence. So, like I had a minute to like think, and I was just like looking around, and I was like, I don't recognize any of this. Where am I?
Where am
I
I?
was just like really lost, and like I knew I wasn't lost because like after I took a sec, I was like, it's a straight road. I can't have gotten lost, but I was just like, I don't know where I am.
Y'all would just say fucking and get lost on the straight road.
Well, this is the thing. Mari is so non-straight. She doesn't know how to go down straight roads.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just end up in like the fucking like guardrail or something.
You're just going like side
God,
to side.
I saw this one fucking like image edit of like a gay couple going in like a gay couple driving in the car, and the GPS is like, go straight, and then they're like, haha, never, haha, and then just the final panel is just the car and the side of like a fucking billboard crashed.
Goals, oh my god.
Let me tell you, if I ever go out in a burning car wreck, that'll be it.
Mood.
Okay, so
That's the way I want.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather not do that. That's too grim to think about.
Yeah.
Next page?
Yeah.
So do we have anything else for this page?
I like this illustration. I like Edward.
I don't think I said anything relevant to this page.
I had this in my notes when we were talking about, like, you know, Edward's advice. I feel like his advice about the coaches does make sense, because, like, you know, in the next story they do pay James out. But also, like, it's just a good idea not to bump coaches in general, considering they're, like, full of people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea. I can't go wrong in all. In the words of James, you can't spell slaughter without laughter.
This is a random thing. I just remembered the time when I was at Drayton Manor and Thomas ran around the train at Tidmouth Holt, and then he just bumped into it and we went like a few inches.
That's just something that would happen on SOTOR.
Yes!
It was like,
Yeah.
every other time I had been like either in the front coach or a coach very close to the front. But since it was the last journey, they wouldn't let you get out, so I was in the back coach. So I got hit with every single coach plus Thomas, and then just got knocked a couple of inches.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
It's fucking whiplash.
Jesus!
I think I have pictures pictures from that trip, actually. I have a little like photo album that has a ton of pictures of me, all of them involving Thomas in some way. Because...
Live after Thomas gave her whiplash colorized.
Alright, should we move on?
Yeah,
Okay.
just one last thing for this page. I have in my notes, from, in case this wasn't clarified before, it's probably new information to listeners. From about like 3:30 a.m. Just what if James was still ill from the accident, and that's why he's so off the shits today?
He's just like me after like I took a new antidepressant and like bought a hero amiibo because it was shiny.
Yes! Yes!
Oh my god!
James,
I wanted to mention that before with the fucking increasingly chaotic picture.
James comes back into the sheds at night and is just like to Edward. So I bought a hero amiibo. It was shiny.
I brought a hero amiibo today.
What are you talking about?
Well, it was very shiny.
Just like me.
He just like fucking.
I wanted to buy a Sailor Moon figure, but I couldn't.
The best part is that's actually what happened.
Yeah, no, I remember the fucking story.
It's just like James is just like, and there was also a child behind me who was really pissing me off, and he wanted a hero amiibo.
I brought it just to fucking spite him.
James would though.
Yeah, no, he absolutely would. Like, he would just get something that, like, he actually, like, realizes he hates after he's already bought it, just to inconvenience, like, Henry.
Oh, please, James, I really want that hero.
What's your bloody badge? I have it now!
That's fucking crazy, but check out what I've got.
This is immediately the most chaotic recording session we've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, what
You're
other
welcome.
content are we gonna get out of this
Have
story?
fun editing
Let's
this,
be
Mari.
honest.
They took the coaches to the platform and were both coupled on in front. The Fat Controller, the station master, and some little boys all came to admire James's shining rods and red paint. James was pleased. I really am a splendid engine, he thought. It suddenly let off steam. The Fat Controller, the station master, and the guard all jumped, and a shower of water fell on the Fat Controller's nice new top hat. Bloop, bloop. Just then, the whistle blew and James thought they had better go. So they went.
Okay, so this story is made infinitely better by the idea of James just being high out of his mind during this, and that's why he just lets off steam.
I'm a really splendid engine.
James is just absolutely baked while on the job.
Zoinked.
Zoinked streamer.
So, like, I really do like this, because this is, like, the very first instance where James, like, you know, his, like, kind of... He needs validation. Like we were saying last time about, like, you know, James's origin. This is the first time he's really been, like, treated well, and the way it's kind of rubbing off on him is that he wants more, and then that kind of, like, shapes who he becomes later on. It's something.
It's very interesting. It's not really a thing I think a whole lot of, but no, it's
Yeah,
really,
like,
quite
it
good
is easy to
characterization.
be
Yeah.
like the Brenner era and just say, oh, James is just the, you know, one-dimensional arrogant dipshit. But, like, when you really look at how his, like,
Yeah,
stories are
because-
presented and take his backstory into account, it kind of paints a picture that, like, you know, he wasn't always like this, and he only ended up becoming, like, a vain dipshit because of, like, you know, the environment he grew up in.
Honestly, my absolute favorite James story is All in Vain.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah?
I also very quickly want to point out in this illustration, it looks like Edward is having a war flashback.
Yeah, you know, I had in my notes as well that as a kid, I always thought that Edward's face was just really, really funny.
I do have to wonder if he's just like, you know, he's just pretending not to notice the shit James is doing.
I do not see it.
I pretend I do not see it.
It's just like he's just like, I don't associate with him.
Yeah.
We were placed together by the higher ups. This is not a voluntary joint venture.
It ain't gonna spank itself, Edward.
This is not what I signed up for.
James, stop default dancing on my engine. Whatever you say, Mr. Receding Hairline.
Go on, he puffed to Edward. Don't push, puffed Edward, for he did not like starting quickly. Don't go so fast, grumbled the coaches, but James did not listen. He wanted to run away before the fat controller could call him back. He didn't even want to stop at the first station. Edward tried hard to stop, but the two coaches in front were beyond the platform before they stopped, and they had to go back to let the passengers out. James really just went, I need to get the fuck out of here. I gotta go.
His face looks like a pig in this illustration.
Yeah, he looks baked as fuck. What if that's where that James face came from?
Oh my god.
What cantankerous old man James?
Yes, look at it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The drowsy face.
Also, this is don't turn that page.
Yeah, don't.
Oh yeah. Don't turn that page.
Can we talk about what the fuck is going on with this illustration?
I don't know what's going on
Go
here.
for
I
it.
don't think it's traced,
Why
but it is like they look so small.
are the buffers so wide?
What fucking track gauge is it supposed to be? Like what?
The perspective is just so
Like
weird.
it looks like
Why are the rails not centered on the sleepers?
it looks like the further away from it's just like the further to the right you go, the thinner the tracks become.
Yeah. I forgot something I was gonna say on the last page because that was the first time James actually spoke.
Yeah.
But Johnny Morris is Welsh James.
Oh yeah.
I like it.
Oh, hello, I'm
Yeah.
James.
Okay,
I'm
it
James.
grew on me, but Johnny Morris's voices in general are really weird in this book. Edward sounds like he's dying.
Yeah, no, I wanted to bring that up. I really wanted to bring that up because like me and Buried Truck usually do a bit with like his Henry voice where we both just sound like we're dying.
His Henry sounds like he has every disease known to man.
Which, I mean, I guess isn't accurate.
Honestly, that is
Yeah,
just Henry.
That's just how he is.
He was forced to drink concrete when he was 6.
This is on the topic of Johnny Morris, but... So somehow he pads out the narration of this to 6 minutes, which I don't know how. But there's a lot of just, like, engine noises, and in this section he goes, like, faster, 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 which is a very interesting sound to hear when you're going 90 hours on the... 90 hours? 90 on the fucking expressway.
You're on the express track now. It's like sometimes the voice in your head you hear when you're driving isn't you.
It's Johnny
It's Johnny
Isn't
Morris.
this page... I may be wrong, but isn't this page the return of...
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. It is because the coaches just go, don't go so fast, don't go so fast. And it's like there's just reverb at the end of that. It's beautiful the way it just cuts soon after. Who knows how long he kept doing that for, or how much
Johnny
dead air
Morris
there
was
was.
a gift to the world.
I'm just imagining Johnny Morris in the
Absolutely.
recording booth doing that for like half an hour, and they just don't know how to get him to stop.
The best part is he probably wasn't told to do it.
Oh no, he definitely wasn't. He absolutely definitely was. Dude was like a comedian, like children's entertainer. Like, dude could have gone on for hours.
He did.
I wonder what he thought of the Railway series.
Yeah.
So do I.
I wonder if he ever
But,
said
I mean,
anything.
You know, you can tell that. Yeah, honestly, but like, it's one of those things where like I feel like you can tell he's having such fun with it that like.
He probably at least
Yeah.
enjoyed the book.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was like really, if I were a professional voice actor, classically trained,
And you had an opportunity to just go blum 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 and get paid for it.
yeah, or just do this sort of voice, I would absolutely adore it. It would just be one of my favorite things that I've ever done.
Valid.
I'm just looking at this image more and more and finding more and more like weirdness with it. Like why is
Where does the road go?
I was just gonna
why is
ask
Edward's
that.
buffer
Where
beam,
does that highway go to?
why is his footplate so wide? Why are his splashers so long? Like it covers like most of his boiler.
And why are his wheels like so weirdly positioned relative to his splashes? It's like what? No. Also, on my complete collection copy, this being my second one, as a kid I would I would write the numbers into the illustrations with a pencil.
Aww.
Because I thought it was wrong that they didn't have their numbers, even though in Henry the Green Engine it's like, yeah, they've got numbers now.
Please tell me you still
So-
drew the numbers over the numbers in the book.
I don't know. We'll find out if I end up guesting again for Henry the Green Engine. But yeah, the illustrations are just faded a little bit in the places I tried to erase it later on.
Aw.
Oh my god, were you the one who added the 4 in the 3 railway engines?
Oh, Andrew doesn't know about that.
Oh. I used an image from the wiki,
You never
which
know.
for some reason Gordon had a 4 like MS painted onto his tender in that one image from Edward, Gordon, and Henry. Yeah.
That was not me.
Andrew just
I can assure you.
Andrew just wakes up one day. He's just like, I'm going to violate. I wasn't. I'm going to violate the Geneva Convention. It's like no. It's like I'm going to vandalize the wiki.
Andrew just wakes
Yeah.
up and they say, "Today I am choosing violence."
Wasn't there a time where someone replaced like the image on like some page of the wiki with just a fucking toilet? The Buster and George's faces image. Wait, do any of you know what that was?
I think I remember that.
Vaguely.
I vaguely remember some like wiki vandalizing scourge a while back that had that as a running
Yeah.
theme.
The toilet was the
Yeah.
vandalism, but there was another time someone posted an image of, for lack of a better word, a very thick woman with, like, a steamroller berry bar in the background. And then they just posted it, and it just said George and Buster's basis.
I mean,
It was removed.
sure.
It was removed.
Should we move on?
I think so.
Lots of people came to look at James, and, as no one seemed to know about the Fat Controller's top hat, James felt happier. Presently they came to the junction where Thomas was waiting with his 2 coaches. "Hello, James," said Thomas kindly. "Feeling better? That's right. Ah, that's my guard's whistle. I must go. Sorry I can't stop. I don't know what the Fat Controller would do without me to run this branch line." And he puffed off importantly with his 2 coaches into a tunnel. I really like how they see Thomas, and he's just like, "Hey, yeah, you're here. Cool.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bye."
I love it. I love getting
He
to see
flexes
Thomas.
his branch line and fucks
I love how
off.
we get to see Thomas again, and this is the only time he shows up in the book.
Oh my God, it is.
Like they add him in to like replace a rando tank engine in the TV series, but in the book, this is the only time he shows up.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, he's just there to flex his branch light, and he just fucks off.
What I love is he doesn't even give James a chance to respond about if he's feeling better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just neither Edward nor James get a fucking word in. He's just like, bye.
He's like, hello.
Like they hadn't even, the passengers hadn't even gotten out yet.
He just
Like
left.
they hadn't even fucking gotten onto Thomas's train. Like he just this is like Thomas and the Guard, the prequel.
You know, that's what I was gonna say. It turns out this actually takes place the same day as Thomas and the Guard. He's just like booking it and leaving people behind.
Which, you know what, feels a little like something a Brenner era episode did.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Was
that a thing?
There was like Thomas and the emergency cable where he like passed a station because he didn't want to,
because he didn't like the bird spotter.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining like
that
a
was
thing
funny.
where Thomas just never stops at a specific station because he would just really hate someone who lives in that town.
He tries to avoid stopping at the station with the baby and Thomas the babysitter.
The baby.
The baby.
It's like just U.S. Thomas. It's just like, God, I fucking hate children.
Hey, you have something in common.
Can't stand this cunt.
Speaking of station, this illustration,
Yeah.
you know, I talked earlier about how I felt like a lot of these illustrations feel like they were kind of like traceovers of the Pain ones from last book.
Yeah,
This blocking
this
looks
just looks
almost
like
identical
the
to
final one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's what I wanted to say earlier when I was like, yeah, there's something I gotta say about the illustrations that I've just noticed. It's like,
Also, Thomas got his number 1 revoked.
Yeah, like I was gonna say it.
so
like,
he did.
He was clearly drawing from that illustration, so why did he do the thing? Why where is the lining on a splasher? Where is his number 1?
Where's his small window?
Yeah, because this would have been before like Dalby painted over the stuff from book 2. All of the stuff from like the Pain version is carried over, so like Thomas does just have like his lack of side window in that. It's
so
just
weird.
all red lining, and it's like
This is a very H-wagon moment.
Also, points? Why are there points?
Why are there points there? What are they doing?
I don't know. Where do they go?
They lead to that water tower they take Thomas to when they think he's gonna explode.
But that was at Farquhar, I think.
Well,
what? No, wasn't
no, it was. I
Oh,
think
right,
even
it's
in the book,
Farquhar,
it was-
sorry.
I will
No,
break your neck.
that's not even that. Not even. You can do it all you want, but it won't stop me.
I'm pretty sure even in the
It is
books,
canon, it's on the site.
Thomas's like water tower is at the railway series equivalent to Elsbridge. So like, you know, like Elsbridge, but not this, like Elsbridge, but not the TV Elsbridge.
Elsbridge, but not the junction. So like, literally the station
fuck.
just before the like bridge.
Oh
with
fuck,
the
speaking of
lake
the
and shit, yeah.
junction, I just fucking realized. So,
Oh god.
Yeah.
we're assuming that Edward and James started their train at... Well, I assume it is, you know... That is where they start the train because of the way they go
Tidmouth.
through the rest of the story. But they start their train at Tidmouth. They go to a station, and then they get to Knapford, which is, you know, the junction here. There's a slight problem here.
Just one small problem, Reverend W. Awdry.
Like, presently they came to the junction where Thomas was waiting with his coaches. So, like, I guess it's just sort of implied that they do stop at stations between Knapford and, wherever the fuck the fucking 10-foot gauge-ass buffers were.
We know there is at least one station between the junction and the big station at the other end of the line. So it's like... Where is that on the map? Did it get vanished with the loop line?
You know, this is the return of Edward's Thanos powers.
Oh god.
I wanted to say before that I think probably before we started that James and the Express is going to be very interesting because that's where I'm just going to go like full on fucking
Yes!
dimensional rift.
God, I can't wait for that one.
I just want to point out, Edward
so excited.
is getting Mike Wazowski'd.
Yeah. Well, that's because he wasn't in the original. Oh wait, he was. James is just taking his place now.
The thing with, like, the station between, like, Tidmouth and Knapford and the loop line is that, as we've established, Edward has powers beyond any of our comprehension, and he decided that those were superfluous. That's a joke you don't understand, Andrew, because you haven't kept up with the show.
No, I haven't, and I feel bad.
Feel free to listen.
It's okay.
It is hours upon hours of content for your enjoyment.
Perfectly balanced line, as all
Excellent.
things should be.
I hear it's perfectly balanced, like all things should be.
Good.
I think that's it.
Right.
Thomas missing his one, and Thomas missing his one is a very H-Wagon moment. That's all.
I love
Yeah.
I love the H-Wagon moment, fan art.
Yes!
Yeah, thank you to the person who did that.
I think his name is Brutus.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Thank you,
Brutus.
Brutus,
You're
for the
awesome,
wonderful
thank
fan
you.
art.
Yeah. Leaving the junction, they passed the field where James had had his accident. The fence was mended and the cows were back again. James whistled, but they paid no attention. They clattered through Edward's station yard and started to climb the hill beyond. It's ever so steep, puffed James. I've done it before, puffed Edward. It's steep, but we'll do it, the two engines puffed together as they pulled the train up the long hill. They both rested at the next station. Edward told James how Gordon had stuck on the hill and how he had to push him up. James laughed so much they got hiccups and surprised an old lady in a black bonnet. She dropped all her parcels and 3 porters. The station master and the guard had to run after her picking them up. James was quiet in the shed that night. He had enjoyed his stay, but was a little afraid of what the Fat Controller would say about the top hat.
I feel like there isn't a lot to say on the penultimate page, which is why we're skimming over it.
Except for the faces.
Yeah, it's
Oh
the
my
faces.
god, yes.
Yeah, no, please. The
Look at
faces.
them.
Edward. You know how whenever I send images, I make noises?
Yeah.
Yeah. I very distinctly remember as a kid, like, my mom would flip to this page in the complete collection, and she's, like, reading it to me, and just go, "Ah!"
I also really like the nod to continuity on that page, because it mentions, like, they left the junction, and then they go to Edward Station Yard. They're, like, going down the map, even though the map doesn't exist yet. It's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I just noticed, I think on the final page here of the book, I think they're at the station Edward's at in Edward's Day Out.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah!
Also, small thing, but I love James laughing at the woman's pain in the last image. Like, that's like, oh, I've killed so many people face.
Yeah.
Also, I
Get
want to
fucked.
point out, like, what I assume is an old English spelling of hiccups.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah. So, I was looking at the Superior Island of Sodor map, which is just the one that comes with the complete collection. There's a bit there, guides to each of the stations or whatever, relative to, like, the locations, or like, relative to the store. There's just one that's like, here, James had hiccups, and it's like, what? Like, when I first, like, noticed that, I was just like, oh, what the fuck is that talking about? What? And I was like, oh, it's probably James in the top hat. Showers the hat.
Oh my god, I see it.
When he does
I see it on here.
But then it's like, when I was reading this again, like, at 3 fucking a.m., like, almost 4 by this point, because I, kept getting distracted by Keanu Roller Coaster. It just clicked, and I was like, that's what the map meant by hiccups! It's literally in the fucking text! What?
It all came full cube.
Yep. I feel like James getting the hiccup sounds like the premise to a reboot episode.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
It gets the giggles.
I'm having train
Somehow even
hiccups
more
today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because,
Read
I mean, at the
Don's
very least,
version
with
of that
Gordon Gets the
story.
Giggles, you get so many moments of Keith Wickham just trying not to lose his shit. And,
It's a funny episode, if not a good one.
yeah. Also,
Yes.
Clown Gordon is good. That's funny. Talking of clowning Gordon, I like Edward like sort of silently clowning
Yeah.
Gordon here, just shit talking him like. You know, Gordon. I don't think you've actually met him yet, but
Absolute dipshit he is.
Yeah.
Shit.
Absolute fuckstick.
That Gordon isn't shit. Everyone's just like, hey, have you ever heard of Gordon? No, I hear he's a thoroughbred.
God.
I wish me and Mari
God,
watched that
like-
video for the first time together, and that was a lot of fun.
Eh.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you liked it.
Really
It is
good.
very good.
It's, I love the noises Jake makes when it's like we're going on the branch.
Ooh, I hate it.
Ah!
My favorite joke is just the I don't like him.
Yeah. It's
That's
good.
my favorite too, but another personal favorite is
also
like,
Henry.
He looks like Henry. Yeah.
Everything involving Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that was all beautiful, because it's like when Dan was like asking like me and Luke for about face stuff, he was like, so I only need these two for Henry, and he just sort of like rattled off the names, or like how they're named in trains, because yeah, easiest way to do it. That's what I know them as. And it was just like the ill face and like the sort of the one that's in dirty work. The Duck would never do that. It's just like, okay. I'm curious.
That's just Henry's energy. That's just Henry One's energy.
Yeah, just shit.
This is going back to the book a bit, but I love that the TV series just removes this hiccup parts and it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the thing, right?
Completely inconsequential.
Yeah, it is kind of like an inconsequential sight gag that, you know, it makes sense that they'd remove it, especially considering they're combining it with the next story.
It's like just inconsequential old woman with her like flock of station staff.
What are we talking about? I think it's a very important character detail that we know James canonically enjoys harassing the elderly.
That's why he's such a
Yeah.
shit-heeled Edward.
I completely agree.
That's why Sir Topham Hatt yells at him,
Yeah.
because he did it on purpose.
That was actually Dowager Hat, and now he's mad. He wasn't mad about the top hat before, but now he's pissed.
He's only mad because he had to hear about it from her.
Yeah.
Topham!
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
Topham, I
mother.
can't believe your engine.
Your station staff is most courteous, Topham. They picked up all of my parcels after I dropped them. Well, why did you drop them, Mother? Oh, your engine just scared me or something. I don't fucking...
You know, it's
Fucking
Used
what?
him hiccuping as an excuse to just make people
it
like...
was the very flamboyant red one. You know the one.
The new one I just
Oh
got.
yes, it was quite an insufferable git, if I do say so myself.
Yes.
God.
You could say that again.
The Fat Controller
insufferable giddy.
Fat Controller just very quietly under his breath. It takes one to know one, mother.
Oh my god.
So, I feel like the story's ending is kind of like... The story just
very
kind of
abrupt.
ends, and that's it.
Yeah,
This
there's
feels like a
there's
Chris
not really any
Awdry
resolution.
story.
Well, I wouldn't go far to say that. I feel like it's...
Yes and no, because
James has two
there's
lines.
a lot of... Yeah, but I still think there's quite a bit of, like, little nuggets of characterization you
Yeah,
get.
it's not
Like,
that
that
bad. Sure.
Doesn't quite
The
come into
story
play for
very
the
much
story.
feels like one half of a whole. And, like,
Which I guess
Yeah.
makes sense considering they did push this and bootlaces together.
yeah, I feel like it works... We'll probably talk about that more when we do get to bootlaces, but I feel like the story works better when they're combined, because that way it has, like, an actual, like, satisfying
Yeah.
ending, as opposed to just kind of like, this, which is like, it's on its own, it's like, it's okay, it works well as like a reintroduction to the region of, where the engines work, but at the same
And,
time,
like,
it is a
I
little
feel
bit
it's a
like
good.
boring, as
It's a good. It's a
Yeah.
good starting exploration of James's character, but it definitely doesn't get in depth enough to where you really get a full picture of him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas when you
Yeah.
Want to do ratings then? Oh,
Good.
sorry.
oh yeah, we can move
Continue.
on to ratings, yeah.
Just real quick, I just want to say that something else was in my notes was if you remove the comma after parcels, the story would be 10 times more interesting. In reference to
All your part.
she dropped all her
3
parcels
porters.
and 3 porters. The station master and the guard had. She dropped all her parcels and 3 porters and the station master and the guard, and they fell through the fucking dimensional rift. They went to the loop line and back.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Let's move on to ratings.
Yeah, let's move on to ratings.
Personally, I would give this story a James, fittingly enough. Like,
Yeah, I was thinking James.
it's the bare minimum of good to me. Like, it's got the nice characterization, but it, as a story, not a lot happens, and all the payoff, like, solely exists in the next story. So, like, on its own, I feel like
Yeah.
it does not work very well without the context of the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I am just picturing a child being like read this at night by a parent who sort of does like 1 story per night, etc. It's just like he had enjoyed his stay, but he was a little afraid of what the Fat Controller would say about the top hat.
What does he say about the top hat?
Find out tomorrow, son.
God.
You don't deserve context, you miserable child.
You.
Honestly, the best part of this story for me in either version is fucking when they mentioned in the TV series that like, oh, they passed the field where James had crashed, the fence had been mended. There isn't a fence on the set. Like, I paused that. Like, I couldn't like look closely because I had the episode on while I was driving to class. But when I was in my fucking like a college lab between classes, I pulled up the episode and paused it there, and there's no fence. On that note, I'd probably give this a. God, I want to say between a Gordon and a James, but I don't think I'm allowed to do a Jordan, so I'll just say James. I have no strong feelings on it.
Jordan? Yeah.
Jordan took me a
No,
second.
it's their fusion.
Fusion is just a cheap tactic
Actually,
to
you know
make weak engines stronger.
I would rather die than fuse with you, James. But Gordon, you're already dead.
That. But Gordon, you're already dead.
What's that Japanese like? You are already dead.
Oh my wa, mush.
Stab at James.
Like, believe me. I have seen Fist of the North Star. I get it. I know.
You're rating them.
See, this is the thing. I have very complicated feelings on this story. So, I guess to very quickly run through it, the James episodes were some of my absolute favorite season 1 episodes when I was younger.
Aww.
I really enjoyed them. I really liked. I don't know, something about the way that they're all shot and framed was really nice for me, and I really liked just kind of everything about them. But like coming back and watching the episode and reading this story, this one at least really isn't that good. And that was actually kind of a shame for me, because I was actually looking forward to getting to this one, and then I was just like, well, I was just like, well, this isn't as good as I remember it being, and that made me sad.
Oh, I love you.
So,
Gay people.
I guess. I love you too, Mari.
Yeah.
So I guess like, if I was going on pure nostalgia, I would give this like a Percy. But if I'm going on like what I think of it now, I would probably go Gordon.
I already said before that I would give it a James. That I was thinking of James, and yeah,
Yeah.
it is a James.
That's James.
I don't know.
It's James.
There's James. There's James. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. Like, when it comes to Thomas stuff, I've never really like been a massive fan of like assigning numbers to how I rate them, because it's just sort of like, well, I don't know. This isn't to like put down like your entire rating.
The rating system is entirely
It's just-
arbitrary. We just do it for fun. It's fine.
I just like.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Andrew comes in and just calls our entire operation a sham.
I mean, it is.
You're a
Pull
sham!
back the curtain a bit. How the rating system started was literally just because, like, we were doing a rating system, like, when we did the test episode, and I, like, said, like,
Yeah.
Percy, or, like, Toby and, like, James, while, like, deciding my rating, and then we just went with that.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I
that
mean, we
makes
thought- we
sense.
thought- we
That's
thought the
that's
gimmick
pretty
was
fucking
fun.
good.
All right. Well, this has been the Railway Series Book Club. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
I didn't even
See you next time.
joke at the end.
Good.